Hello everyone, welcome to Ulysses Chess Lessons, and today we're going to talk about how to use the Rook to help you win in your chess games. The Rook is a very powerful piece that helps you attack and defend at the same time. Are you ready? Let's go! The Rook is a very powerful piece to use in chess. It is really good for attacking your opponent. For example, where should the Rook go for white? Well, as you can see, Rooks love half open files or open files. An open file is a file without any pieces on it. So there are three: the C file, the D file, and the E file. So the Rook can go to D1. You always want to get the open file before your opponent. For example, now the white Rook is on the D file, the black Rook will maybe go to the C file. You really want the Rook to attack your opponent. So you can maybe get the other Rook to the C file to challenge the other Rook. Now maybe the knight goes to G4. Now you can see that white is controlling two open files. Now the Rook also likes to go to the second and the seventh rank. The second, seventh rank is really important because that's where the pawns are. You can take the pawns, you can take advantage and cut off the king. So the seventh and the second file is really important. In this position, how can you attack? Well, first, to attack your opponent, you want to make your Rook to the seventh rank. By moving this knight to B5, you allow your Rook to attack your opponent. Your opponent might defend the pawn, but your knight can also take the opponent's pawn. Now, if black threatens to take your knight, you can go back here. You can see that these two Rooks are really important. Watch this. Black's Rook is about to attack your second rank, but your Rook is about to attack the seventh rank. See how Rooks are really important? This is how you identify an open file or a half open file. See, there's nothing on the D file, so this is one of the files you want to control, or the E file. A half-open file is only like a piece blocking the Rook, such as the C file. There's only one pawn that you need to clear. Rooks can also be acted on defense. Take a look at this position. The white and black king are in really dangerous spots because they're on an open file. In one move, the queen can check the black king. So, how can these kings get safe? Well, they can castle. King to G1 and Rook to F1. That is called castling. First, castling keeps your king really safe with three pawns in front of your king with a Rook guarding your king. Now, why is this good? Because first, it protects your king, and second, when you castle like this, the Rook can move out freely. If the Rook is in the corner, it can't really move. But if the Rook is over here, it can go to E1 to check the king and go on with open files and the second and seventh rank. You can put two Rooks on the same open file, such as Rook to D1. This doubles up the Rook in one file, which is very powerful to attack your opponent. Maybe your opponent does a random move such as Queen to H6. You can go Rook to D8. This is very powerful because even if black takes your Rook, you still have another Rook to protect your own Rook. So Rook goes to D8 checkmate. The Rook is really powerful. You just need to know how to use them. Remember, the Rook's favorite spots are open files or half open files. And the second and the seventh ranks are really important. So you really want to attack those two ranks. Today, I'm going to teach you a special strategy in the endgame. It's called the Rook Roller. If you have 2 rooks, you can actually checkmate the other king. The first thing you want to do is to corner up the king into the last rank. How do you do that? First, you need one of the rooks to cut off the king, but not directly check him. Rook to A3. Now the king can go to D4. Now, how do you force the king to go to the last rank? Now you use this rook to check the king. Rook to H4. Now the king can't move to the 3rd rank or the 4th rank. It needs to move up to the 5th rank. Now you keep on doing this. With the other rook, you go to A5. And the king is forced to go to D6. The other rook goes to H6. The king is forced to go to D7. The other rook checks the king and goes to A7. And finally, the king goes down to the final rank, D8. Now, the last step to do is to checkmate the king. Rook H8, checkmate. The king has nowhere to go and is trapped. Rook Roller. In a true story in the history of wars, there were once 2 empires. One empire, it was really strong. It had a lot of weaponry, it had a lot of armor, a lot of arrows. But the second empire was really weak. It didn't have a lot of arrows, it didn't have a lot of armor, it didn't have a lot of weaponry. So it came up with a great strategy. They fought on boat. The weaker empire created many fake men made out of straw, but the opposing empire thought it was real men, so they fired all their arrows to the weaker side. They fired all their arrows and all their weaponry. But at the end, they were only fake men. So they used the weaponry and used the arrows to fight back and eventually won. This is one great tip. In the chess game, if you're in losing position, you really need to think of a tactic or a strategy to get back and win. You maybe need to sacrifice some pieces, but at the end, you will win. I hope you learned a lot of tactics and strategies from this video, and I hope you enjoyed my history stories. If you like this video, please subscribe. And if you want to watch my previous video, click right here. Thank you!